For decades, the Luftwaffe, the most feared, most lethal air force ever to darken Europe's skies, dominated from the Spanish Civil War through the Blitz with unmatched tactical brilliance, fearless pilots, and engineering wizardry that left rival air forces in smoking ruins. They pored over every Allied technical report smuggled from Britain, intercepted RAF radar chatter from chain home stations, dissected the wreckage of every crash-landed P-47 Thunderbolt or P-38 Lightning that littered French fields, and even interrogated captured 8th Air Force crewmen in Stalag Luft camps. After exhaustive analysis, they reached one unshakable conclusion. America fundamentally lagged in aviation genius and killer instinct. Sure, their propeller-driven Mustangs and Thunderbolts were rugged, reliable workhorses, fast in a straight line, packed with .50 caliber punch, but they were no match for the elegant, razor-sharp engineering of the Bf-109G or the predatory radial-engined FW-190D. Americans? A nation churning out quantity over quality, factory fodder planes flown by green boys straight from flight school with 100 hours total time, lacking the blooded eye of a true experte. The Germans were catastrophically, fatally wrong. And the story of those first blood-chilling, heart-stopping encounters, when veteran aces with 100-plus kills stared slack-jawed into cockpits at silver jets screaming past at impossible speeds, trailing no propellers, defying gravity itself, is a gripping lesson in raw American innovation that didn't just shatter the sound barrier of arrogance, it obliterated it entirely. It's easy now, from the comfortable perch of history books and declassified archives, to dismiss their fatal misjudgment as the height of overconfidence, a classic case of victor's hubris blinding the vanquished. But rewind the clock to early 1944 as waves of B-17 Flying Fortresses and B-24 Liberators darkened German skies daily, their bomb bays emptying 2,000-pounders over the Ruhr's factories, and their assessment rang with cold, logical truth by the unyielding standards of Wehrmacht precision. The Luftwaffe was the pinnacle of Prussian aviation perfection, handcrafted fighters rolling off Messerschmitt's Augsburg lines and Focke-Wulf's Bremen factories, each plane a symphony of stress-skin aluminum and chrome moly spars, powered by Daimler-Benz or BMW engines tuned to surgical perfection. Pilots were drilled relentlessly in energy fighting, deflection gunnery, and thatch-weave counters since the Condor Legion blooded them over Guernica in 1937. They had shredded the RAF at the fever pitch of the Battle of Britain, downgrading fighter command from 700 Spitfires to smoking wrecks, mauled waves of Soviet Yak-9s and Law-5s over the frozen eastern steppes, and turned the sun-baked Mediterranean into an airborne graveyard for RAF Hurricanes and US P-38 Lightnings alike. America entered the European Air War late, its P-51D Mustangs impressive long-range escorts capable of 440 miles per hour in a dive with water methanol boost, but still fundamentally propeller jobs, vulnerable in tight-turning fights against a skilled 109 pilot, their Merlin engines thirsty despite drop tanks. Legendary German aces like Walter Novotny, with 258 confirmed victories from Barbarossa to the defense of the Reich, or Erich Hartmann with 352, openly scoffed at fragmented, ultra-intercepted reports of experimental American jets flickering out of Burbank and Muroc dry lakes. U.S. prototypes like the underpowered Bell P-59 Aerocomet were dismissed as flops, barely faster than a P-40, Allison jets wheezing at 400 miles per hour with reliability issues. Luftwaffe Abwehr intelligence pegged operational American jets as years away from combat deployment, plenty of time for Germany to flood the skies with their own revolutionary Me-262 Schwalbe first, the world's first operational jet fighter sweeping at 540 miles per hour. By spring 1944, as the D-Day Armada mustered in English Channel fog, Berlin's air planners crunched the numbers and concluded the skies over the Reich remained firmly theirs to command. Jets or no jets, American pilots fundamentally lacked the Rittertum, the chivalric killer instinct of a true Jagdflieger. This was, beyond question, history's most devastating misread of aerial warfare. And the German realization that they weren't facing the propeller-pushing America of their intelligence dossiers, but a jet-propelled nightmare, didn't crash down in a single chaotic dogfight melee. It built inexorably, layer by shattering layer, in waves of intercepted radio panic traffic, frantic crash site interrogations, eyewitness combat debriefs from shell-shocked Gruppenkommandeur, and captured documents that left even the saltiest Experten speechless, their Me-109 throttles shoved to the firewall in vain pursuit. The first faint tremors, those hairline cracks in the unassailable fortress of Luftwaffe confidence, rattled Oberkommando der Luftwaffe headquarters not from daring Me-262 sweeps over the bomber streams, but from shadowy spy networks operating in neutral Sweden and high-altitude photo reconnaissance sorties by Ju-86Rs over California's sun-baked test ranges. Meticulous Abwehr analysts in smoke-filled Berlin basements pored over grainy, hand-developed reconnaissance prints from Lockheed's ultra-secret skunk works near Burbank, fragmented diplomatic cables from Swiss legations, and whispers from double agents embedded in Boeing's Seattle plants. The whispers turned to outright hallucinations, reports of a sleek P-80 Shooting Star prototype, twin Allison J-33 turbojets screaming at 500 miles per hour on early test tops, half again faster than a P-51D at altitude. Propaganda, pure American bluff to goose home front morale, they sneered. After all, their own jet program had stumbled. The Arado R-234 Blitz reconnaissance jet lagged in production, and even the revolutionary Me-262 swallowed scarce Jumo 004 turbojets and volatile J-2 kerosene like a ravenous beast, with engines lasting barely 25 hours before turbine blade failures sent pilots flaming into the Rhine. But then the hard data piled up, undeniable and chilling. U.S. factories retooled overnight with industrial sorcery. The P-80 Shooting Star wasn't some fragile one-off X-plane destined for the scrap heap. Republic Aviation's Farmingdale plant on Long Island was already tooled up from P-47 lines, churning out prototypes, while North American Aviation scaled their veteran P-51 Mustang jigs for jet airframes. The numbers mounting on blackboards defied aeronautical sanity. One P-80A flew non-stop coast to coast from Morocco to New York in just 4 hours 13 minutes on July 26, 1944, averaging 520 miles per hour ground speed, sipping JP-4 fuel from streamlined wing tanks. German agents in Los Angeles reported massive engine test stands humming 24/7 under Klieg lights, heat-resistant alloys shipped untouched by U-boat wolf packs aboard the endless Liberty freighters immune to Kriegsmarine sinkings. By late autumn 1944, as the first Me-262s of JG-7 clawed back fleeting supremacy over the Reich's beleaguered skies, downing 500 bombers in a month, the whispers escalated to shouts. America had shipped the first operational P-80Bs across the Atlantic via the RMS Queen Mary liner, offloading them at RAF Burtonwood under tarps. Not fantasy, not bluster, real silver jets, engines spooling up on rain-slicked runways. Disturbing, profoundly disturbing, bone-deep, unsettling. Aerial warfare, stripped to its raw physics, boils down to unforgiving equations, thrust-to-weight ratios, service ceilings, instantaneous roll rates, and sustained turn radii. But Luftwaffe brass clung desperately to one final bulwark, a hard-learned truth forged in the crucible of the Eastern Front. Jets demand battle seasoning like fine wine. Green pilots handed untried turbojet machines mid-war? They would be easy meat for Me-262 aces schooled in high-speed intercepts since Rechlin test flights. Proof of this doctrine seemed to manifest first over the blood-soaked skies of Europe, not yet in full jet duels, but in the ominous doctrinal shockwave rippling from the 8th Air Force's P-51D Mustangs with 110-gallon drop tanks slashing deep into the heart of Germany, diving at 500 miles per hour to shred unwary FW-190As 10-to-1 in swirling furballs over Hanover and Magdeburg. Still mere propeller birds, yes, but the template crystallized, American abundance overwhelming tactical finesse. Then came the teases. The P-59-era Comet test flights, buzzed by RAF Spitfires in November '44, clocked at 465 miles per hour clean, dismissed as underpowered P-40s with jets. The true earth-shaking quake slammed home on March 24, 1945, during Operation Varsity, the massive Rhine-crossing airborne assault with 1,500 transports dropping British and American paratroopers into a hail of flak. Luftwaffe scrambled everything desperate. 300 fighters from JG-2, JG-26, JG-300. Swarms of Me-109Gs, FW-190Ds, even a precious handful of Me-262As from Adolf Gallen's elite JV-44 Jagdverband. They met not the expected prop swarm, but the screaming dawn of the jet age. 24 factory-fresh P-80B shooting stars of the U.S. 8th Air Force's 415th Night Fighter Squadron, ferried straight from California's sun-baked runways just weeks prior, led by Major Edward LeClaire in the lead ship. First blood in the jet wars, pure, primal shock. Picture it vividly. A grizzled Oberleutnant, 50 kills notched over the meat grinder of Stalingrad's skies, coaxing his battle-worn Bf-109 G-14 through ragged stratus clouds at 20,000 feet, supercharger whining, 20mm cannon armed. His Fugue-16 ZY radar warning receiver suddenly trills, multiple blips, closing fast from angles 30. Bombers? No, the silhouettes resolving through brakes are wrong, too sleek. Twin-engine darts with no prop disc blur, T-tail stabilators glinting silver. Suddenly, they streak past vertically at 37,000 feet, Allison J-33 turbojets howling a high-pitched banshee wail utterly alien to Merlin or DB-605 ears. Indicated airspeed pegged at 550 miles per hour, Mach 0.66 in thin air. Was zum Teufel ist das? He keys his Fugue-25A radio in disbelief. What the devil is that? No classic turn fight engages. The P-80s execute a flawless zoom climb vertical, untouchable scissors, then loop back overhead for a high-side guns pass. His wingman, Lieutenant Fisher, dives after a straggler P-80, optimistic, only to eat a withering 200-round burst of .50 caliber from 6 synchronized M2 Brownings firing at 1,200 RPM, the jet's superior roll rate snapping away untouched. First jet kill logged in frenzied JG-300 debriefs as unidentified enemy jet fighter, extreme speed, superior altitude performance. Radio transcripts captured by RAFY service. Achtung, amerikanische Strahljäger im Anmarsch. Jet fighters, incredible climb. Panic ripples like chain lightning. Even Me-262 pilots, self-crowned kings of 540-mile-per-hour sweeps, suddenly feel secondary. The P-80Bs outturn them at 30,000 feet, loiter twice as long on 495-gallon wing tanks, and absorb battle damage without shedding turbine blades. This yawning doctrinal rift defined the Luftwaffe's agonizing endgame. German jet tactics revolved around high-speed boom-and-zoom sprints, fuel-thrift like Normandy artillery shells, and greedy landing patterns on cratered Autobahn runways. Every minute aloft a gamble with J-33 kerosene rationed by the leader. Americans? Jet abundance incarnate, quartermasters playing gods of redundancy. Captured supply dumps at liberated airfields left Gestapo-interrogated ground crews gibbering. Endless pallets of T-33 shooting star trainers, P-80 evolutions for the masses, J-33A5 engines crated like Chevrolets with interchangeable turbine blades down to the last compressor stage, stacks of 165-gallon tip tanks reaching warehouse ceilings. JG-26 pilots debriefed after Arnhem skies. Endlos, endless replacements flooding from England. Wir verlieren einen 222 to flak and engine flame out. Sie schicken sane P-80s by next dawn. Logistics transformed warfare. By VE Day Eve, Lockheed's Burbank Skunk Works had rolled 1,700 P-80s off the assembly line, 900 from that single plant alone, with Northrop churning P-61 Black Widow conversions. Total ME-262 production? 1,430 airframes, fully half grounded indefinitely by chronic fuel shortages and a collapsing synthetic oil industry bombed flat by the 15th Air Force. Every precious 262 lost to a P-51 ambush or Allison bite, irreplaceable voids in the Jagdwaffe order of battle. America? Stronger by the hour. Convoys of crated jets stacking up at Antwerp docks. Even the most decorated aces paled before the emerging doctrine. German jets excelled as sprint interceptors, 20 minutes combat radius, greedy on the deck for takeoff rolls chewing scarred concrete. P-80s, designed from day one for endurance, loitered 2 full hours at 40,000 feet on internal fuel, carrier-capable modifications already blueprinted for the Essex-class post-VJ day, with ejection seats and armored cockpits standard. Oberst Gordon Golob, 150 victories, swords to the Knight's Cross, debriefed post-war. Sie kämpfen nicht wie wir, no Rittertum, no chivalric duel. Sie umzingeln wie Wölfe, schießen aus dem Nichts mit perfekter Situation, encircle like wolves, shoot from nothingness, with perfect SA. No chivalry, pure industrial hunt. First confirmed P-80 kills, Second Lieutenant Wesley Matlock in P-80A, Pappy's Prune, bags an Me-109 G-10 over Fulda Gap. Wounded German pilot bails screaming into his bailout oxygen mask. Strahlflugzeug, amerikanisches Düsenjäger. Jet plane, American turbojet. Radio transcripts declassified from RAF Chicksands. Achtung, Achtung, Amerikaner mit Düsen, Düsengetrieben. Unglaublich schnell, über 800 km/h. Jet-powered, unbelievably fast, over 800 kilometers an hour. The true breaking point, the day Luftwaffe High Command fully grasped the Jagdwaffe's doom, slammed home in a series of frantic April 1945 engagements over the Fulda Gap and Weser River bridges. JG-300s, Me-109s, and FW-190As, reinforced by 12 Me-262s from Kommando Novotny, bounce a feint of 40 RAF Tempests, only to trigger the trap. 24 P-80Ds thundering in from 45,000 feet, afterburners flickering blue flame. Me-262s scatter like startled pigeons, their 30mm Mk-108 cannons useless at extreme deflection. FW-190Ds flame one after another in high yo-yo reversals they can't match. Ace Rudolf Schnaufer, 121 night victories, the highest-scoring mosquito killer, witnesses from his Ju-88G1 perch. Die Ära der Propeller endet hier. Ihre Jets tanzen den Himmelwalzer. We merely run. The prop era ends here. Their jets dance the sky waltz. We merely run. Post-war intelligence bonanza from captured OKL files. U.S. jet production outpaced Germany 10-1 at peak, 20-1 in engines. Tactics? Irrelevant against volume. P-80s swarmed like P-51 packs, but untouchable. One final trembling gasp haunted Norwegian fjord holdouts. JG-5 FW-190I F-80C ferry flights bound for the Pacific, Operation Blacklist. But American factories decreed otherwise. 11,000 jets planned by 1946, Republic XP-84 Thunderjet evolutions already taxiing. Acclaimed pilot quotes echo through the archives like ghosts. Unheimlich, eerie ghosts in silver skins, no prop wash. FW-190 pilot, Osnabrück Furball survivor. Der Hammer Gottes, God's own hammer from the stratosphere. Me-262 Gunner, Rhine Patrol. Wir waren Pferde gegen Panzerwagen, Horses against Panzers. Veteran JG-54 Greenheart Ace, Baltic Debrief. Schnellster Feind ever, fastest enemy, impossible pursuit. BF-109K pilot, Fulda Gap. The skies had shifted forever. American jets didn't just fly, they rewrote the very grammar of air superiority, turning Luftwaffe legends into footnotes. If these thunderous aerial showdowns fire you up like they do us, we dive deep into these forgotten dogfights every single week. Viewers swear by these for work focus or evening unwind. Taking 1 second to subscribe doesn't just fuel the channel, it locks you in for the next thunderclap. We'd be honored to have you in the cockpit.